there's a lot of fiery comments in tonight's movie, almost to the point where we gotta like talk in code because we don't want to, trip off any censor bots right at the start of a podcast, or we're simply reviewing movies and talking about good times. We're not painting the town red. I mean, I was talking to Jordan a second ago saying like, the most exciting thing I've done is ate extra soft serve ice cream, extra soft. You know what I mean? Real dangerous guy. Anyway, but I didn't want to use like specific words. I just said dangerous twice. That's probably a bad word, according to the censors, or the censor bots. So everybody in this movie ends up taking a vacation while they're trying to design a designer product. I think that's the best way to go about describing tonight's movie.
Yeah.
At least right at the top, anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
It's Heat Wave movie month. What is the heat wave all about? Well, actually, you can't really trust weather patterns to be included because usually this time of this end of the summer is like, really hot, but the cold spots are hot and the hot spots are cold. So pretty soon the movies you're going to see is like, Crimes of a Weatherman on Lifetime or Tubi, something like that. Anyway, the crime movies are here. I actually Googled, I was like, let me search up some weird crimes, because when I talk about ordinary crimes or household crimes or, I don't know, schoolyard crimes in all these movies, I looked up a couple of crimes. So, involving Hot Pockets, monkey blood, and gators in a drive-thru.
This is not all at the same time, right? Like they're three individual crimes.
That would be great. Like, it's like,
he's eating a Hot Pocket.
It was one hell of a
gator at the drive-thru
because old Steve, it was Hot Pockets, monkey blood, and gators through a drive-thru all in one night. No, three separate crimes. We'll be right back with this story right after the theme song.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
Only 30 seconds and maybe like an extra 5 seconds with the cracking of the cold one. But maybe you've heard it so many times, it seems like forever. You know what I mean? I want to go back to my guy and be like, hey, man, let's have the electronic music. Let's have the girl say the words and crack it open. We might have to do like a 10-second version. I don't. But I mean, this is quite a while of having to hear it. I don't know what the audience thinks, but anyway.
I love it.
So before the theme song, we were talking about how we were trying to not trip the censor bots at the beginning of a YouTube video and have like suppression. So yeah, it's a crime movie, but we danced around all of its content by saying people get exited by taking vacations and their designer products are being sold as a commodity in the neighborhood. Read between the lines. Anyway, I also said I would share 3 crimes that I came across in my studies. And here we go. The first one is Hot Pockets. So I guess there's a couple of roommates in like Arkansas or something. And the one roommate got mad because the other roommate ate the last Hot Pocket. And I thought, yeah, I can understand. You don't eat the dude's last Hot Pocket. You just don't do it. It's like unwritten biblical rules of roommatehood.
Yeah.
Like buying and sharing of food. Who's buying what? It's like, it becomes a real barter system where it's like, you got the milk, but they have the Frosted Flakes.
For sure.
You got to be like, well, right, you can have 3 bowls of Frosted Flakes, but exactly how much milk does that give me? You know, like let's work this out. And then it's about the roommates. But usually there's like roommates where it breaks down, where the communication breaks down is like somebody's eating too much food or drinking too much beverages.
Also, the last of anything is just a no-no. Like there's something...
Down to the last drop?
Yeah, well, like there's something about dreaming about this Hot Pocket all day long, and you're just like so excited to get home to eat this Hot Pocket, and then you get there and the last one's gone. Like I would turn blood red mad, you know?
Man, I was trying to teach my kids Hot Pockets, and they thought it was like an alien. Like they don't get it. I'm like, oh, you think it's too hot? just crack open the envelope on the end and let the steam come out first. You know what I mean? And and I'm thinking like, maybe it's because of my childhood. I'm like, you guys don't even understand. You guys have access to all these Hot Pockets. We got a Hot Pocket once a week. We thought we were in freaking kings of the freaking trailer park. You know,
it was so good. It was so good. Yeah.
In the 90s, like if you got your hands on a Hot Pocket, it was like the thing. You know,
I still haven't.
Kool-Aid jammer.
I still haven't learned my lesson though. I'm somebody who eats it hot right away. I just like burn my whole mouth. Yeah. Oh, it's bad.
The craziest thing I've seen with a Hot Pocket is actually in another show. That's Crime Jason. Actually, it's about like a telemarketing scam, and Kirsten Dunst plays the lead in it. But the guy who runs like the telemarketing, multi-level marketing thing that's going on, or whatever, he overcooks the Hot Pockets intentionally, like in a regular toaster oven. So they're black because like his whole thing is like he has some crazy fixated thing about like being an overweight kid and like he abused by his parent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like something is not right in the dude's head, right? So he overcooks the Hot Pockets and they're like black and burned and he's like scorching himself with every bite as like a punishment with each bite, like religiously. So but Jordan goes right in, bites right through the Hot Pocket. Anyway, I didn't mean to start the earliest thing with. I wasn't even going to tell the story about the guy who burns the Hot Pockets. Now, monkey blood. This one's a little bit strange. This crime is outside of a Wells Fargo. Cops found some guy in a car with a half gallon of, I guess, what turned out to be actual monkey blood in the bucket. And he said he didn't have enough monkey blood. That he was looking to get more. Why he thought a bank could provide more monkey blood, I don't know. But the guy also claimed that he was half orangutan and had to consume the blood of other monkeys, I guess. Was his whole deal. Anyway. The last one's really funny. Like this guy in his 20s or whatever named James. I don't know if his friends call him Jimmy or not, but he threw a 3-foot gator through a Wendy's drive-thru.
What?
I'm not sure if they got his order wrong.
That's wild.
Or they took his nuggets. Anyway, so there you go. 3 weird crimes that I found. And you know what's funny? Some of these crimes lists that I was finding are on a Bell Bonds website. I was like, wow, even Bell Bonds websites are getting into content marketing where they're producing articles on their websites to get you to their websites to buy Bell Bonds. However, the content's about like the weirdest crimes you can find. I saw another one about pizza dough and razors, and I thought that was horrible. It was almost like the story of like
the Halloween
razors and Halloween candy or something. But this dude was like putting it in like Domino's pizza dough or Pizza Hut pizza dough or like another. Who knows? I don't know. I assume that's what it was because it said he was like how he got caught was sneaking into pizza places to put it in their dough or whatever, I guess.
So he wasn't like an employee or anything. He's just
unclear. It's a very short, we got like it's a 4-sentence story, like a flip, you know, like dude arrested putting razors in pizza dough or whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
Man, baking in. That's a horror movie waiting to happen. Anyway, we're already at home video headlines. Lin-Manuel Miranda is bringing the Warriors to Broadway. What's the Warriors? This is a 1970s crime movie. It's Walter Hill. It's about a gang that's wrongfully accused of killing a Tri-County gang leader. The concept of this movie is like one gang leader is a genius and he wants to consolidate all the gangs in New York or the 5 boroughs, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings them all together for a meeting, gets assassinated, and then they blame it on the Warriors. And the Warriors are like, whoa, we're from Coney Island, dudes. We actually don't fight very much. We're barely a gang. We wear buckskin jackets and we live, according to, whatever flimsy Native American philosophy we've just like picked up here and there. They're kind of like New Agers. You know what I mean? Like they got their healing crystals in their hands. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like they're not, again, barely. The only reason they qualify as a gang is because they're just kids that loiter around. You know what I'm saying? And like maybe skip out on paying for the subway, but they're not a violent gang, right?
Right.
So these guys, I mean, if you're watching that movie, you feel very sorry for them because they seem ill-equipped at the beginning of the movie, and like their only goal is to get back to Coney Island, right? Hours away on the subway. So every other gang in the city. Here's where it gets kind of like surreal, neo-punk, comic booky. there's like a baseball carrying gang called the Furies, and they look scary as hell because they get like yellow faces with black eyes, and so I mean, it's like not really crime. It's like exaggeration of like ideas. You know what I mean? Like some of it seems dirty street stuff, but then like again, anyway, real gangs are probably not going to walk around and be like, "Hey, we're the baseball Furies. You're out." You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely fiction. The idea of a singing Warriors movie to express their rage on stage, why not? I'm in. Let's do it. Let's watch it.
I love a musical.
It's going to exaggerate even more of the extraordinary stuff in that baseball Furies,
Yeah.
Stanley from The Office. He was going to make an Uncle Stanley mystery show. I think he was going to solve crimes in Florida or something. I don't know. I don't know if that was the concept, but he did like a Kickstarter or like a fan funding thing. And he was going to make a spin-off show. One, I don't know if he was authorized to do it from the network. Two, I don't know if he has rights to his character. Three, nothing came about it. Like, he's returning half the money to the fans that donated to the campaign, so we're not going to get the Stanley show or whatever. Aww. Although I do think it's funny. It's like, hey guys, here's half the money. I don't. Or half.
What's the other half?
Where's the other half? Because they said total donations were like 200 and something thousand. He's returning 100 and something thousand. So I mean, did you at least make a couple videos? I mean, what do they get for that money?
Right.
Did you send out a postcard? Like, what were the rewards? Because like on Kickstarter, they give you like, oh, you're gonna get a signed poster. Something like that.
Yep.
Christian Bale, he's gonna star a Netflix remake of The Bride of Frankenstein, which is really funny because I feel like if Netflix is remaking The Bride of Frankenstein, that's competing with the one group that's gonna reinvent the Universal monster movies, right? So it's like, meanwhile they're doing that, these guys are over here doing this with Netflix. Anyway, but Bride of Frankenstein, she had more personality than Frankenstein. She definitely did not want to be the Bride of Frankenstein. That was clear in the original from like the 30s or 40s or whatever it was. And they make more fun of that actually in Frankenstein. It was a Mel Brooks comedy.
Right.
With Gene Wilder.
So good.
There's that. So Christian Bale I assume he's going to play Victor Frankenstein, right? I assume he's going to play the doctor. Although it would be funny if he was a tortured Frankenstein's creation. I don't know if they ever gave the monster a name. I don't know. I'd have to go back to the source material, like the Mary Shelley book or whatever, and see, like, did they ever name this guy?
Yeah, they always just refer as like the creation. Or the creation. Yeah.
Oh, he probably has a name by the end because, like, unless this movie made up this part of the ending, because I think the end there's like a frozen ship in the Arctic, and he's chasing the creature, and they have a final confrontation, but the creature lives, and he dies. Is that in the book or just the movie? Damn it! Like, again, the reason I don't know, folks, is because I wasn't planning. It's not a Frankenstein episode. Also, we lost a director's director. You know how that, like, there's that phrase like an actor's actor. Well, if there was a director who knew other directors, and who also poked fun at Oliver Stone, at least about his movie Alexander, William Friedkin died. Passed away, moved on. His energy moved to the next level, whatever. Probably most famous for The Exorcist. However, there's some movies that I definitely want to point people out to, like the remake of 12 Angry Men. So his version of 12 Angry Men, which is like a courtroom drama. That's in 97. He did a bank robbery movie called The Brinks Job, where we're like robbing a armed car. Blue Chips is really good. I think that has Nick Nolte in it. I think that's the basketball movie. And Bug. So, like, I know everybody loves him for The Exorcist, but there's this movie called Bug, which is like got Ashley Judd and Michael Shannon. Is that his name? Michael? Is that his name? It could be getting his last name wrong and mixing him up with Molly Shannon, but he played Zod in the Henry Cavill Superman, and he just reprised the role in The Flash. Do you know which actor I'm talking about? Michael, whatever? Anyway.
No, I should be better IT, though. I like be looking this stuff up for you on the fly.
It's all right. Anyway, Yeah, his name's like Michael McShamus or Michael. It's definitely an S. Anyway, so that's like an indie. It's almost like an indie movie. It takes place in a motel. The concept is like literally like they think there's bugs. Like it's like one of those things where they start to feel and see bugs everywhere, right? Like it's inside of their skin and like that's definitely a mind. That's definitely a mind trip. Yeah. So it's called Bug. Everybody should look that up. Like early or mid 2000s, something like that.
Going on the list.
We're just cruising right along. We've arrived at tonight's movie. It's Deep Cover. It's about a uniformed police officer who gets recruited by the DEA to infiltrate a drug smuggling ring to expand its operation. Laurence Fishburne, Jeff Goldblum, Clarence Williams III. Who else is in it? Oh, Sidney Lassick, who you might remember from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, plays like a henchman named Gopher in this movie. Does a good job. I'm like, where did I see this guy from? Oh yeah, he was one of the crazies in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Or institutionalized. I'm joking. Get over it. Moving on. The guy playing Felix, man, he's actually in Planet of the Apes too. Who's Felix? Felix is like one of the head honchos in this movie that they're trying to take down. He's like the gateway drug dealer. It's like the supplier, the dealers on the street. Then he's like the mid-level guy. And there's actually two guys above him, as we come to find out. Yes. But he's like the first target of the investigation. Anyway, this actor also played Father Giovanni in the Vampires movie, so that's how I know him as, like a plucky guy assigned to help the vampire killers in John Carpenter's Vampires. And but he goes all the way back to playing one of the astronauts in Planet of the Apes 2, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Well, ill-fated astronauts. We know that his buddies in that movie got taken out pretty early on. So
it's like, was that the one that we covered?
Yeah, we covered it. The one with the bomb. Yeah. But he plays one of the other two astronauts or whatever.
Interesting.
I wrote his name down, but I can't read it. Gregory something. Anyway, he's a good character actor, folks. This is like cast is stacked with really good character actors. But basically, it's about John and David, and Laurence Fishburne is John, and David is Jeff Goldblum, and it's about their rise to power in the Los Angeles crack cocaine drug arena. I don't know, which is really funny because like at the time of the 90s, there's the riots, there's the white fear of crime, there's like these institutionalized crimes, there's the crack cocaine epidemic, and whatever. I don't want to like kick up a bunch of ghosts about it, but it's like there's a lot of stuff going on now that I think like the epidemic is not so bad now. Like it's kind of like there's so much distance of time between us and that situation. Like now every drug makes everyone addicted to everything. You know what I mean? Like there's like there's like that times 10 plus nobody's making any money plus nobody can agree on anything, right? And plus now people are worried about things like artificial intelligence replacing everything that they care about, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like
it's a bit layered these days. Yeah.
Like it's not as a hot button. This movie's not as a hot button discussion as it was when it came out or 10 years after, or even, what are we, like 20 years? Has it been 20 years? Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's been about 20 years.
The riots would have been in 1992, so that's 32, almost 30.
Well, the riots are separate. Like that will be a memoriam forever. I'm talking about like there was a slew of these movies that came out around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Some are better than others. We'll get to that a little bit later when we're rating the movie. But I just feel like maybe it's because people are stuck in their own problems. So when you hear about another problem historically, you're just like, well, how does it affect this, and this? Anyway, I'm not saying it wasn't tragic. I'm not saying it wasn't an epidemic, but like we have the opiate crisis now, which has replaced it.
Right.
That's like the modern equivalency, I think. What I'm saying is that it continues. We don't learn our lessons. You know what I mean? It just gets worse.
It just evolves.
It gets worse and then more complicated.
Yeah. Evolves not in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, historically, this did come out in a very
You're right. We're covering a lot of movies lately that touch on real life. So we have to take a moment and respect that fact.
Yep. Just take a look at it. Yeah.
Take a look at it. Make a decision for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Moving on. You got some savage stats for this thing?
Yeah, I do. Nice. So the rhymes that Laurence Fishburne's character recites, such as the Jungle Creed says that the strong must feed on any prey at hand. He references a couple of different rhymes. Their lyrics taken from the record Reflections by best-selling Black author Iceberg Slim. Director Bill Duke was a great fan of Iceberg Slim, who wrote...
he pulled quotes?
From
Iceberg?
A writer, from Iceberg Slim. And he even went on to create Iceberg Slim's autobiography called Pimp, which never made it to production. Because, the reason why Pimp is the autobiography is that Robert Black, who is Iceberg Slim, was actually a pimp from age 18 to 42 and became a writer later in life. So once he
there's a documentary about him, and there's another movie loosely based on him, and I think the show called Snow on FX or something. It's either based on him or another guy. I don't know.
I bet it's super interesting to watch. Yeah, I would definitely be down. And the lyrics are just incredibly poetic, and so really, really impactful part of the movie. All of the actors, as you had said, are this whole cast is super stacked, but they go on to co-star or collaborate in a list of films like Hoodlum, Miami Vice, American Gangster, Death Wish 1, which then we have Jeff Goldblum, and then we also have Laurence Fishburne, and they actually play the villain in one of them is in Death Wish 1, and then the other one is the villain in Death Wish 2.
Well,
so they're terrorizing the same character. So thought that was pretty interesting.
Fishburne's also in King of New York, which is another crime movie as well. Definitely heat wave appropriate. And I'll compare them in a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, and Bill Duke himself is also an actor.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Actor, director.
He's in Predator.
Producer.
He's the guy that famously is shaving his face to calm himself down until the point where he breaks the razor on his face, which is a classic moment.
Oh my goodness.
Predator. He's also in Mandy, which is a horror movie. I don't know if he's still kicking around or if he died recently. It's possible. Anyway. Clearly Johnny's not prepared. Jordan's on it. Johnny's off his rocker today. I don't know. I didn't keep track of anybody's filmographies. Nothing. Favorite bits. If you like something in the movie, or if we learned from last week, if you got a bitch about something, that's also welcome.
You can bitch about something too. Yeah. No, there was a lot of one-liners that I really liked, mainly coming from John's character, right? That was his name in the movie. My favorite part is David. David frequently asks him the question, what's the weirdest thing that you've ever done, while having sex? And he kind of always is asking some questions. I don't know why that's something he checks in with John throughout the movie, but I don't know if it's a trust builder thing, but he asks David, who's Jeff Goldblum's character, asks John if he'd had ever been with two women at the same time, and he comes back with a reply, yeah, your mother and your father. And I was I just thought that was so funny because it's a good insult. And I also just, I do love Jeff Goldblum so much, and he always has his real personality kind of shine through, these characters. He's just so just in true Goldblum fashion. I love it while they're in the kind of fight scene in the car with Felix, and David's trying to get Felix to get out of the car. He's shot him in both of his hands, and he's trying to kick him out of the car, and Felix turns at him and says, "See you soon, David." And
shooting him in the hands is payback because he
totally
he was trying to intimidate. So Felix again is the mid-level drug boss.
Yes,
and this is the point in the movie where he's actually turned snitch, and he's trying to get rid of John and David, and they're running away from the police are chasing them inside of a limousine, and the hand game at the intimidation scene was like slappies. It's like, and we play this in like junior high. It's like you put your hands on one, the person tries to slap you. If you don't slap them, you get to slap them, whatever, and it keeps going on till whatever. Like the person on top, basically, if you can't get away from, maybe I'm saying it backwards.
No, you did. Yeah, because if
one on top has to escape, right? Has to get away from the slapper, or otherwise they keep getting slapped. I don't know what to tell you, folks. Kids play violent games to understand it. I don't know what to say. Human animals are violent. What do you want, man? I didn't set this up.
Right.
It's biology. Anyway, to pay the guy back, I mean, this is kind of extreme. I don't know. But also humans are the animals that created revenge, as far as I know.
I mean, he's also a snitch at this point. True,
because gorillas get revenge. I think lions remember and get revenge. Dogs get revenge. I think animals probably remember and go and get paybacks.
I mean,
hamsters payback. Anyway, so the guy wants to pay him back. Jeff Goldblum's character David is going to pay him back, but instead of just slapping his hands, he shoots him while he's in the back seat,
and then kicks him
tries
out
to kick him out of the limo.
Yeah. But my favorite part is he goes, "See you soon, David," and then David he's like stands up and he's like, "Yes, we'll have shrimp." I don't know. There's like little bits of like comedic one-liners in there, and then just to kind of like, I hate to kind of spoil some parts, but it was a fun movie. I thought it was crazy when David gets slapped in the face by John. It's at the very end. John's kind of having that moment of like, I guess he's like really checking his morality because the other police officer got shot and David smacks him in the face, and he just like finally kind of has that moment of where he's kind of coming to and what his role is in all of this. And so he reads him his Miranda rights.
Just like the title says, he was deep and he was in deep undercover, folks. So he almost forgot his mission, and he comes back to it.
Every time
Jordan's talking about.
Every time I'm trying to like look up anything for this movie, I kept on putting in Deep House. The movie that we wrote, that we did a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, it's Deep Cover, not Deep House. I don't know. There was a lot of bits. I could talk about a couple more, but what about you, John? What were your favorite bits?
You know what? Make sure, folks, you're looking up Deep Cover 1992 and not 2007, because you're going to Google Deep Cover. It's going to be Deep Cover movie. It's going to say it's on Amazon. You're going to go to Amazon. You're going to start playing another crime-related movie that they just like gave I swear these people are just like, we're going to use the title again. You know what I mean? Like, people searching for the real one are going to find this inadequate one. Anyway, can you hear this crinkle? That's
crinkle,
me taking out my notes out of my pocket, folks. One thing what Jordan said when he remembered his mission, it was like the thing he said in the very beginning of the movie. There's only one rule in the game: don't blow your cover.
Right.
But then he breaks his rule to remember his true mission after seeing his dad die in the streets.
Oh, that was so hard.
This guy's Batman, but for real. 20 minutes in, Goldblum's character says he's a cop. 20 minutes into the movie, he pegged him. We wouldn't have a plot. We wouldn't have another hour and a half to chew on if everybody agreed that he was a cop. 1 hour in, like I said, it becomes a saga of John and David. Then you get to the limo scene. So I saw this movie on TV the first time. I hadn't seen anything before the limo scene.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like I've seen the movie 2 or 3 times. The movie for me starts like at the limo, and then I thought at the beginning of the movie, it should have started with him already undercover and then worked back to the origin story again. But there was much more linear storytelling, right? Yeah. It used to just be like A happens, then B happens, then C happens, rather than like, nah, let's go to C, B, then we'll show how A explains D, then Z, the movie's over. You know what I mean? Like, but no, this is like he gets raised up, it sets down his path, blah blah blah. He has a mentor character. Wow, I don't know if you can apply the Joseph Campbell story myth to this, but you probably can, because in that it's like you leave your cave, you look for the elixir, you have a mentor, then there's somebody that gets in your way who's called like the trickster, who's not really a mentor, but you think they are, which would have been like David's character for John. You think that's somebody who's mentoring you, but is actually an adversary, Anyway, so then 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think Jeff Goldblum's character says, I thought it was his character. I didn't write that. I just wrote down the quote, like you were talking about special quotes in the movie.
Yeah.
He says, like, I used to think there were different groups of people, and then he's listing off all these different races or whatever. But then he goes, now I've come to learn that there's only the rich and the poor. I'm like, oh, provocative line. You know what I mean? One of the best lines in the movie, besides maybe the one that Jordan said.
There were some good ones.
An hour 35 minutes. It's after it's right around the limo because, like, dude, Jeff Goldblum's haircut changes. His attire, his wardrobe changes. At the same time, his attitude changes, and I'm like, oh, Jeff Goldblum replaced by the devil. That's what I wrote down on my notes. Like,
I didn't notice that at all.
He goes to like black leather, right?
Well, he did, like, it's funny because you see
and
like
slick hair.
Yeah, you kind of see obviously Laurence like in this movie. I only know him as Morpheus, right? He's a hottie in this movie, but then Jeff Goldblum comes out in this film wearing something very much like Morpheus would wear it. I was like, am I in the Matrix? Am I not in the Matrix? I'm a little confused, but it was cool.
I saw a signature. Did you see the signature Laurence Fishburne look that he used several times in the Matrix? Actually, he used this expression like maybe 2 or 3 times in this movie, but he did it like 10 times in the Matrix. It's like this far away, painful look that he did. He mostly used it in the Matrix scene when he was like he had been captured, right? And he's kind of out of it. So anyway, time to rate the movie. I think her rating is going to be a little bit more favorable than mine.
Oh, well, I feel like it's kind of been leaning that way lately. Yeah, it was a total binge now for me. Like, this was a good movie. Of course, you know, like, it's obviously a little risque, if that's the word I could put on it, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Entertaining.
By the way, they use a Dr. Dre song, which introduces Snoop Dogg, and also there's a song, forgive me if I'm wrong, folks, let me know if I'm wrong. I don't know if it's the same song or a different song, but the story of this movie is told in a song. And there's New Jack City, and there's King of New York, and Laurence Fishburne plays more of a Felix type character in that movie, named Jimmy John. And that's like one of his iconic roles, besides playing the cowboy in Pee-wee's Playhouse, which is like one of his first roles. He's good and solid and conflicted in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was because it's a repeat for me. I don't know, but I think his performance in a similar movie in King of New York is stronger, where he's like playing the right hand man to Christopher Walken's David or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a BL. It's a binge later. This is how we do it, folks. It binge now, move it to the top of your list. You got to watch it right away before something else. Binge later. It's entertaining. Get to it eventually. Binge never, which we haven't done one of those in a while, I don't think, don't waste you can't get the 2 hours of your life back. You have other better things to do. Fan service. What are the fans up to? Let's find out. What did I write it down? On a piece of paper. I think. Oh, the one right in front of me. That's helpful. I'm looking over here. Oh boy. Okay. Wiley said, "Hey, comedy and horror, the 2 best combos." Yeah, Wiley, kind of agree with you. Beatrice says our expressions make her laugh. Jordan's doing some right now, so there you go, Beatrice. Meg says, "Those sunglasses suit you."
Yes, they do. My God.
I took down which video that comment came from to make sure I was wearing the correct shades tonight.
Yes.
Not that I have an ego. Greg said he had an unpaid internship as one of the bears in those Chinese zoos that we were talking about.
Oh.
And then he said, underscore or whatever, I can understand the dog suit motivation. Yeah, Greg's answers are always a little dirty. Yeah. And then Maribel, as the best one of all, I assume Maribel is a woman. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I get your pronoun wrong, I'm sorry, whatever. Apologies. This is the episode we get sued on. We die on this hill. This is it. Maribel says she sits down with popcorn for the podcast.
Oh.
Like, that's next level thinking. That's a nice compliment because it's like we're giving you a movie experience and you're getting your popcorn out like it's a movie. I love it.
Yeah.
Staff picks. If you watch something else you want to tell the audience about that's not the movie of the week, this episode's cruising right along. Like we're in our own limousine chase scene.
Yes. It is high-speed chase right down the road of podcast recording.
If the podcast goes below 50 miles an hour, it will explode.
A cold box of wine or pour something cold.
The song starts playing again.
I did watch something. We started How to Become a Cult Leader on Netflix. So it just falls right.
Which is a show, not an actual playbook.
It is a show. Yes. Well,
clarify.
It's funny.
Podcaster teaches you how to join a cult.
But that's like actually Peter Dinklage is the narrator, which I didn't realize until my boyfriend mentioned it. Because his voice sounds just like a little bit different. It sounds a little bit more formal, which I love. And I love Peter Dinklage so much.
Can you imagine him sitting there with a little bow tie as he reads this book of narration?
He sounds like really sophisticated in this, but it actually, there is a playbook that they use as points.
Wait, what? I made that up. I don't know anything about this show.
Yeah, there's like, they follow like a cult leader's playbook and they like reference, and so we're not saying go become cult leaders, but you did bring up The Office earlier, and isn't there a saying by Creed where he's like, what's the quote? I wish we could pull it up right now. He's
I know the Creed. I know that okay. Now for some truth telling. I fall asleep to The Office playing.
Yes.
Every night.
Yeah.
Every night. It's consistent.
It's your lullaby.
It's part of my ritual. Creed says, you make more money as a cult leader, but you have more fun as a follower. That's what he says.
Yeah. So that's what I'm watching. It's super interesting. Covers some of the major ones, some ones that I've never heard before too. So it's been thrilling. What about you? Did you watch anything?
Yeah, I'm watching a lot of television. I guess is it still called television? I don't know. Still watch it on TV, maybe. Yeah. I'm catching up on Winning Time, which is about the Lakers, but specifically the Magic Jordan era when Dr. Bus takes over, who's played by John C. Reilly.
Ooh,
takes over, buys the team. I love it because it's like the first season talks about, and again, it's an exaggerated. We know what happened in real life, but it's obviously entertainment. So. But he's entrepreneurial. He takes risks. There's a high probability of failure, but it goes on a limb. And then he makes a quote about, I wonder if this is a real quote. I got to look it up to see if the guy really said it. He talks about swans. He's like the most elegant, calm, serene swans in a pond. But if you look under the water, they're paddling 1,000,000 miles a minute with their feet or whatever, always paddling, never stop paddling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically saying that way. He's basically saying that's how you play poker is like, you got to be calm, collected, like nothing's ever wrong, even though your feet might be going 1,000,000 miles an hour to get shit done, right?
Right.
Like never stop, which is really cool. Yeah, it's about the Lakers dynasty. It has a really cool way of shooting. It's Adam McKay. So if you like his style of filmmaking, like The Big Short, it has those interstitials that cut between video effects and what people are saying. People break the fourth wall. Yeah, they talk to the camera as their characters and as the actors back and forth. And it's just really fun. So there was one season. Now the new season's about to start this pretty soon. And like as we're recording this, I think it's like within days or whatever. And then Billions, which is like a Wall Street show, which is about like insider trading at a firm. And then, like, the main investor is going to get taken down by, like, a U.S. attorney, but the wife is actually the therapist. Of course, this is where the Hollywood writers come in, right? Like, the wife works at the trading company or whatever, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, conflict of interest. Anyway, I'm only, like, do you ever have a show, like, you're trying to watch, you're trying to dedicate attention to, but then everything in your life is, like, people, noises, activities, like, you just can't get through the episodes?
Yes.
Right?
That's why I like stockpile them like I'm a freaking squirrel or something going into hibernation and I can't I gotta like stuff them in my cheeks. So I
so like I keep restarting episodes, right? And if they're the wrong episodes, like I'm really on episode 9, but then I'm playing parts from episode 10 and 11 and 12, going like, wait a minute,
how does this any of this? Yeah,
structurally, yeah. It's like wait, they're investigating this person now. Like what? Like
that's the worst.
But I'll get through it. It's a mission.
Yeah,
and a luxury. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, because if you don't have access to billions, I don't know. Oh, but speaking of The Big Short, if you want something for free, that's awesome. That movie is actually on YouTube for free right now. So in their little free section, yeah, you got to watch the YouTube commercials, whatever. But if you haven't seen that movie, folks, that's a good way to watch it. Deep Cover, only found it on Criterion, but they got a free trial. So if you just make a fake email, steve@.com, do what Steve does. Make a little fake profile, but you got to remember to go back and cancel on day 6 or whatever if you're not gonna pay for,
Yep.
If you're gonna be like Steve, Steve's not paying for it. So.
Yeah.
No, unless he's on his aunt's account and they're sharing passwords. But apparently Netflix has developed technology that you can't do that on Netflix anymore, I suppose. So not everybody's gonna be watching Frankenstein on Steve's account. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
have your own account.
I'm selfish with my stuff, so it's just me.
You're like, I earned my Netflix, get away.
Yeah.
You get like a text from your sister. Hey, could I? No, you will watch the Cult Show on your own account.
Yeah. I don't want it messing up with my algorithms too, and my recommendations. So,
man, where are we?
I think we're talking. What's the movie for next week?
Oh yeah, if we come back next week and do another podcast, we're on a week to week, folks. Like a month to month to your landlord.
Yes.
I don't know if this podcast exists next week. If we're still here on the microphone, we're going to watch The Hunted from 1995. There's like 12 Hunted movies. I've started sharing movie posters with my co-host because I want to narrow down the right movie. Not that it's her fault.
It is.
I'm not saying it's her, I don't know, fail or whatever. I'm just saying I've started to notice that the movie titles come back around like 12 times. Also, in the third act of movies, everybody has a shootout at the docks, apparently, because it's in this movie. It's in 2 of the Lethal Weapons. It's in what other movie did I peg it in? I had like 4 movies on before we started where I'm like, the original Punisher. There's a Punisher movie, came out like 89, shootout at the docks. I don't know if you noticed this phenomenon, but every action movie has a shootout at the docks.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or like the Reds, I think, there's a docks thing. Oh, Batman Begins has a dock shootout. See what I'm saying? Like this pattern of dock shootouts is a real thing. I'm not making it up. Anyway, there is no dock shooting, I don't think, in The Hunted 1995. I wrote, fuck yeah, action, ninjas, and crime in Tokyo, no less. It's got Christopher Lambert, who played Tarzan, Lord of Greystroke or whatever. He played the Highlander in the original The Highlander. What else is he in? Beowulf, which is actually, his version of Beowulf is actually in the future, and it's kind of like not his most popular movie, but I like it anyway. He's in a lot of stuff. He's in a Coen's Brothers movie, actually. Like, did you see the one where George Clooney plays the actor who gets kidnapped by the communists?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I think it's called Hell Caesar because he's making like a Roman general movie. He gets kidnapped, and then it's like behind the scenes, like the studio executive is like trying to figure out where he is and get him back, rescue him. And Christopher Lambert is playing like an eccentric movie director of like the musical. Because it's like the studios in the 50s where they have a studio system with like their 25 actors, and then I'm making like 10 movies at a time or whatever. So the producer visits like various movie sets to try to get clues on what's going on. Right? So he's in that movie as like an eccentric director. Anyway, he's like a B movie actor, but he's like an international actor. He's done a lot of stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm like defending him now. I'm like, yeah, The Hunted is so good, guys.
Maybe stay tuned for next week's movie to see what John really rates it. But
so he's like a businessman in Tokyo, and then he accidentally sees something he's not supposed to see, cross paths with the Yakuza, and then there's like some honorable samurai group who are like against the ninjas, who are like, we'll keep you alive, American. We'll help you out. It's just good. I don't know what to say. It's like Neo Tokyo. It's like a crime story in Tokyo. There you go.
There you go.
Had been meaning to get to it, like eventually on the show. Same with Deep Cover. Deep Cover had been on the list for a while, and finally getting around to The Hunted is pretty cool. Again, if this is the episode we die on, our hill is built up on ninjas. I don't know what else to say.
That's a good one. That's a good hill to die on.
Just filled with ninjas?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can't hear you.
Played for a long time. You know what's funny about ninjas? Historically, in movies, anyway, they've been depicted as like some real mean motor scooters. However, historically, they're the rebels. They're the ones standing up to feudal lords. Maybe be more compassionate to the ninjas. Actually, I mean, some of them, I don't know. The other legends say they're like nasty assassins, right?
Okay, I'm ready to be compassionate for the ninjas.
Well, they're either oppressed assassins. I don't know. The special group of assassins in Japanese legend, or they're turtles.
Which I like turtles too. So I like dodos.
I've been goofing off this whole episode.
I had to goof off a little bit at the end.
I just wonder if I'm going to make anybody mad because I'm like, I'm definitely pushing buttons. We'll see. Who knows? Can't really tell. Can never tell unless they write you a nasty email or. I'm like provoking.
It's like, leave it in the comments. I'm just kidding. Please don't.
Leave us a wonderful comment about your opinion, ninjas.
All complaints do go to Frank at bwpodcast.com, and he will reply to them within 24 to 48 hours.
Secret trivia. That's not a real inbox.
Nope. And it's a cat.
Because I ain't paying an extra $6 for another Gmail account.
Yeah, seriously.
I gotta pay for Netflix because George doesn't want to share.
Nope. Sorry, SOL.
Yeah.